looking at the School of Management at the Asian Institute of Technology. I am talking primarily about people that would like to join the program in August 2021. My name is Dr. Roger Livermore. I'm the Dean of the School of Management. I'm joined this evening by some of the Chinese-speaking students at AIT, the School of Management, and each one of them is briefly going to introduce themselves now. They will be providing a summary of what I say in Chinese. Maybe Sarah, could you just say hello and a few words about yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. 大家好，我是 Sarah 肖怡，我来自北京，我在联合国开发计划署驻华代表处工作，我已经在这个办公室工作了10年，我的主要工作是采购，然后我是今年1月份加入 AIT， 我是在管理学院，也是就是 Dean Roger 他这个学院 School of Management， 我是 DBA 的学生，所以我是远程上课，课程基本上都是周6日，我是今年1月份开始，已经上了4个月的课。谢谢大家。
Thank you very much, Sarah.
Yes, my session. Yes.
Thank you. And maybe we can move on to Gao. Sorry, yes, Gao now.
Hello， 大家好，我是高荣，然后现在在 AIT 就读那个商业分析和数字化转型这个专业是硕士学位，然后是去年8月份入学的，然后是 Shelly。
大家好，我叫 Shelly 王思清，我现在在 AIT 读国际金融，然后也是去年8月入学的。OK。
Thank you. And finally, Shui.
大家好，我叫帅泽君，我在 AIT 就读 MBA 的晚间学院，然后我一般都是在晚上和周末上学。然后在 AIT 呢，我是去年8月份入学的，然后在 AIT 学到了很多知识，非常高兴认识大家，谢谢。
Thank you very much. And thank you for those joining who are interested in our programs in the School of Management. The format for the next 35 minutes will be to give an introduction to AIT, to the School of Management, especially the diversity of the school and the university. And then we'll talk specifically about the MBA, 2 of the MSc programs, and then the DBA program. They're the ones we will focus on today. And we have our students here. If you have any questions in English or in Mandarin, then please go through and ask us questions at the end. Sarah, could you just translate that very briefly, please?
Yes, OK. 大家好，刚才那个 Roger 院长他是说，今天我们主要是讲一下学校的一些简介，然后还有关于学校一些就是大家学习课程的一个项目的介绍，就比如说他主要会讲 MBA 工商管理，然后还会讲MSc 应该叫理工硕士对吧？然后还有 DBA 是工商管理博士的学习。今天应该就是讲这些内容，然后如果大家有任何的问题呢，是可以提问的，大家可以用英文或者是中文都可以，然后我们在场的几位小伙伴可以给大家翻译。谢谢大家。然后我们在讲这个PPT 的时候，Roger 老师他会讲英文，然后我们几个会轮流给大家提供中文的翻译总结，然后有问题大家可以随时问，好吧？谢谢。OK。
Thank you very much. Okay. So the intention is that I will speak in English, and that for some of these slides to be just a very brief translation into what I'm trying to say. So the starting point is the Asian Institute of Technology. We teach at master's and doctoral level. We are an international English-speaking university, and our focus has been on the social and economic development of across the whole of Asia. And we've been operating for 62 years. We have 2 locations in Bangkok. We also have some centers in Vietnam as well. But this presentation today is about the programs that you can choose, either coming over to Bangkok or joining a flexible mode, meaning you can stay in your home country and still go to classes, live classes via Zoom. Sarah.
Yes, OK，这个第一页里面是给大家主要介绍，就是AIT 这所学校呢已经成立，大家可以看到是1959年成立，到现在应该有62年。然后呢，这个学校它主要是有研究生和博士的课程。然后它在这个学校呢，它主要是在曼谷有2个校区，应该一个在它东部郊区，还有一个在它城中心，它后面2页可能会有介绍。然后它还有另外的几个中心是在越南。然后今天如果我们涉及到任何的学习项目呢，它都是关于在曼谷学习的项目，以及大家可以远程参与，可以就是在自己国家，然后参与网上学习就可以了。然后还有就是这个学校它学习的内容呢，主要是在大家就是看 PPT 里面的第2条，就是它社会经济发展。然后它讲社会经济发展呢，主要是横跨了整个基本上是亚洲，大家可以看到有南亚、东亚和东南亚。好，谢谢。Yes, Professor.
And a few words about Bangkok, where we are based. So a lot of the students in our 2 schools of engineering and environmental science, they studied and based at our main campus. The School of Management, 1/3 of our students is based at the main campus, which is 40 kilometers north of Bangkok, set in lush, beautiful countryside. The School of Management has 2/3 of its students actually in downtown Bangkok, quite close to concentrations of Chinese speaking population. And that is something which we've been doing for the last 3 years. So you do have a choice about being taught on the main campus in downtown Bangkok, but we also have quite a few students at the moment who are being taught by flexible mode, meaning that is a live class via Zoom. Sarah.
Yes，大家可以看到，就是 AIT 呢，它主要有2个校区。第一个校区呢是它的主校区，它应该是在曼谷东部的郊区。然后它是刚才有说到有2个其他的学院，这2个学院呢，它基本上都是在主校区里面上课。然后它管理学院大概有1/3的学生以及它的课都是在这个曼谷市中心的学校里面去开展的。然后还有对2/3我刚才是不是说错了？2/3的管理学院的同学是在曼谷市中心里面上课的。然后如果大家参与到因为今天我们是管理学院的介绍哈，如果你加入管理学院的话，你可以选择是去曼谷市中心的学校去上课，或者是远程加入就可以。OK。
Thank you. So a few words about the ranking or the prestige of the university. So we're 62 years of age, and we have a number of accolades, especially in the last year. Last week, AIT was very highly ranked by Times Higher ranking for things like global poverty reduction. So we're ranked number 15 in the world for our work in global poverty reduction. The MBA at AIT is ranked number 1 in Thailand, but probably more impressive is the top 14 ranking. There were so many universities in China, in India, in other parts of Asia that we're very proud of this number 14 ranking. So we're highly ranked regionally and globally. Sarah.
这个页呢，主要是给大家讲一下，就是 AIT 它在这个亚太区域以及全球区域的一个排名情况。大家可以看到第1条，它有讲说是 AIT 的 MBA， 它在整个泰国呢是排名第1，在亚洲呢是排名第14位。其实在亚洲排名第14位已经非常靠前了，因为整个亚洲还是有很多 MBA 项目的。然后第2个呢是关于AIT 它的排名呢，它是泰晤士，就是这个 Times Higher Sustainability。它是关于泰晤士，还有一个关于可持续发展的一个排名。它关于第1个可持续发展目标，消除贫困而言 ，AIT 的排名是在全球第15位，其实已经非常靠前。大家感兴趣可以去这个 Times Higher Sustainability 网站上面去看一下。然后它第3项主要是讲，它其实就是验证了它在整个区域和全球一个比较靠前的一个排名。Yes.
So I'll go through these next 2 slides quite quickly, just to remind you that we have 3 schools. So we're quite a small university, but we have 25,000 alumni from a very diverse set of countries. So diversity is our key word, but everything we do is in English language. The alumni come from across Asia, The largest group naturally is from Thailand, but we have large concentrations from other parts of Asia as well. The three schools, one more time, are engineering, technology, environmental resources and development, and this evening I'll be talking about the School of Management. Sarah.
Okay, could you please go back to the first slide? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. 这3页里面呢，它第1页总共有25000多位。然后他所有他的现在在学校的同学呢，是有包括来自40多个国家，总共1500多位同学。然后他所有的 AIT 的课程都是用英语教学。Yes, next slide. 然后 next slide, Professor. 对，然后这个呢是讲一下他在全球，刚才有说过100多个国家的全球的校友，他其实占大比例的可以看到是泰国、越南，然后还有其他的一些比如说亚洲国家，还有一些欧美国家，大家可以看到。Yes, next slide. 然后他刚才有说过30多个学习的项目，对吧？然后全部都来自这3个学院 ，School of Engineering and Technology， 这个应该叫工程技术学院，对吧？然后第2个呢是环境资源与发展学院，第3个就是管理学院，也就是今天我们着重会介绍一下跟管理学院下面学习项目相关的内容。Yes.
Okay, so now we move over to the School of Management itself. And then I'll be talking a little bit about the faculty, the students, and our programs. We're moving over to a different translator. That will be Gao, who will be taking us through these particular points. So just to say that the School of Management's got 10 programs, and today we're focusing on the MBA, 2 MSc programs, and the DBA. We have over 200 students, but the key point on this slide is that around about 50% of our students come from science, technology, engineering, and math backgrounds. This is an important point because when people make that transition from more science type subject areas, sometimes they worry about that transition. I would say that's not something for them to worry about. The way we try to pitch the courses, it doesn't take too long to go through and get up to speed on the subjects that we teach, especially on the MBA program. So 50% come from STEM backgrounds. Our strengths are our location, our flexibility. I believe very strongly that we have high quality teaching, especially from the people who are managing director level, who come in to go through and teach on a range of our courses. That flexibility I was talking about allows you to be in different parts of the world and join our classes, live classes via Zoom. We also have a flexible payment plan, and we have the choice of daytime, evening, weekend classes, depending on which program you are part of. I'll also be talking about some of the value-add activities that the School of Management has and diversity. So, Gao, is it okay for you to translate this page, please?
Okay, sure. 接下来我为大家翻译一下这部分的内容。这部分我们主要讲一下管理学院的特点和特色，然后还有接下来会讲一些教职工，就是我们的教授。然后首先介绍一下我们管理学院的特色，就是首先我们有10个项目分别是什么理学硕士MBA， 然后还有博士。然后我们学院有200多个学生，然后50%的学生是有理工科背景的，所以我们为什么会选择管理学院呢？首先是它的位置，它是在曼谷市中心，曼谷市中心有一个学院，然后我们的周边也有个学院。然后接下来就是我们的那个教学质量，它是根据我们跟我们现在或者是未来的工作环境是极度相关的。然后还有一个是灵活性，包括说项目的灵活性，你可以选就是它项目的期间，你可以选择1年制或者2年制或者灵活定制的那种。然后还有就是你的付款计划，还有混合教学模式，包括说线上可以通过 Zoom 参加，然后也有线下的面授课可以混合参加。然后我们的那个参加课程的那个时间有白天课程，有晚上课程，还有周末课程，这个是根据你的项目来就是不同来定的。然后还有一些就是额外的点，就是 导师项目就会分配给你一个 mentor，然后这个就会教给你一些，就是会带一带你，然后还有经常有的客座教授讲座，还有一些 CEO 级别的CEO 级别的就是讲授，然后过来分享一些重要的知识。然后接下来就是还有一个就是多样性，然后我们有很多不同背景和不同来历啊，不同经验的那个学生和教职工还有校友。Okay, Professor.
So I just want to highlight some of that diversity in terms of our backgrounds. So I'm from the UK. Then we've got people from Thailand, from North Africa, from the US, from India, from France, from Switzerland, Australia. We have people here on this page who are from Barbados. The one I would really like to focus on is Professor Larry Franklin, who is a lecturer here who teaches on some of our venture capital type courses. He also is an expert in negotiation. He teaches at Stanford University on the west coast of the US. He was also a colleague of mine when I used to work at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. Other examples of diversity are lecturers here from Singapore, from Portugal, from South Africa. And the final page of diversity of faculty, we have a chief economist from Spain. We have a Finnish professor. And in the bottom left-hand corner, Vincenzo Carreri is a lecturer who is a director of an Italian fashion company. He lives in Hong Kong, and he's teaching on digital marketing and consumer analytics. So these are some of the faculty we have. And all I'm trying to do is to highlight the diversity and the background of high quality faculty. Gal?
OK，这几页介绍了我们就是现代管理学院基本的所有教授，我们的教授都来自很多国家，基本就有泰国、印度、美国、法国、瑞士、澳大利亚、美国、英国、意大利、西班牙、葡萄牙，还有香港这些教授。其中Roger教授是来自英国的，然后Roger教授刚才提到的 Larry 教授是他是美国籍，现在是EMBA 的导师，然后是港科技和斯坦福毕业的。Okay, Professor.
And then just a few pages to showcase some of our students. So on the MBA program, first of all, today we've got Chinese-speaking students who are here to go through and talk to you. So they're part of that diversity. But we also have people here from Vietnam, from Korea, from Nepal, from India on the MBA program. On the MSc programs, we have a Myanmar student from Sri Lanka. Of course, we have quite a few Thai students as well. And on the DBA program, we have people here from Australia and from Japan. Gal?
OK， 我们的同学有 MBA 的同学有来自印度的、韩国的、尼泊尔的，然后硕士的同学 MSc 的同学有来自印度的、韩国的、泰国的，然后还有缅甸的、斯里兰卡的。OK, next slide, please. 还有我们的 DBA 的同学有来自澳大利亚的。Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about the programs, and we're going to be joined by Shui, who is on the MBA program. So I'd like to welcome him here this evening. The MBA is the program which is the one that's been ranked by QS in 2021 as a very high ranking. And these are some of the points that I think I would like to emphasize for the MBA. Number one is that it's taught by, quite often taught by senior executives or by experienced, respected academic faculty. We try to create all of our programs, including the MBA, to be focused very heavily on industry focus. And we are increasing the age of our students. So currently, the evening program has an average age of 28. An MBA program, like any MBA program around the world, is a blend of generalized knowledge, such as accounting, strategy, leadership. But we also allow you to go in depth in certain areas as well. And every year we update to provide topical, interesting courses. In the last 12 months, that's included negotiation skills, consulting skills, fintech, big data analytics, change management. And the one that I'm particularly interested in for next year is Industry 4.0, 50% of this course will be taught away from the lecture theatre in industry such as Bosch, and they'll be talking about how are they implementing and using and applying Industry 4.0 in practice. Shui, over to you.
好的，那现在呢，我为大家翻译一下刚才 Roger 讲的内容。首先呢，我是 MBA Evening Program 的学生，然后你可以看到我们的 MBA Program 呢，最近当然是殊荣了QS 2021年的非常高的一个赞誉，它是我们在亚洲的第14名，然后已经是取得了非常不错的成绩。然后这里呢，我们可以有4点，然后来重申一下。第一点呢，就是我们的这个 MBA 工商管理硕士呢，是在那个被Senior Executive 像一些非常有经验的教授啊，或者是在职场里面非常有经验的人士来教的，所以的话呢，他教的内容呢非常富有寓意性，然后可以非常实用的在生活中得到印证。然后第二点呢，就是我们非常注重工商管理硕士对实际操控、对实际的应用性。然后我们的 MBA 的这个学生呢，他的平均年龄是28岁，然后可以看到我们的这个 MBA 的学生呢，也是拥有了很多经验的人士。然后其次呢，我们的 MBA 的这个项目呢，是用一个 blend 是结合了general knowledge 像operation 啊 accounting 啊 strategy 啊，像技术啊会计啊这些知识，然后同时呢也融入了一些非常细致的知识，像 HR 啊，像innovation 像金融啊市场分析啊这样子的一些内容。最后呢，我们的课程当然最有特色的特点就是我们拥有一些非常有特色的课程，像consulting skill， 像我们像怎么能在职场里面能够更好的交流啊，然后像金融的像非常具有时事意义的 fintech 呀，或者大数据的分析啊，商业的改变的策略啊，这些都是非常有意义的课程。然后其中 Roger 老师非常感兴趣，也是我们下次会提供的课程呢，叫做 Industry 4.0。然后这也是结合了现在的时事热点，然后来推荐的一门课程。然后相信大家都会对这门课程非常有兴趣。Back to you, Roger.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the other part of the MBA, just in terms of how you can take it. We have most students join the 2-year program, which is 48 credits. We do have people that would like to go through and do the program quicker over 1 year, which is 36 credits. And then there's a choice about doing the program in person at the campuses that I was talking about earlier, or doing it hybrid mode, meaning you join the live class via Zoom. We actually have 5 intakes for the MBA, different to the other programs, which have got only 2 intakes. So for the MBA, students can join as early as June, but most join in August. We have others that join in October, January, and March. And this year we have reintroduced specializations. So you can have an MBA, but you can specialize in a subject such as finance, marketing, change and innovation. This is just for the 2-year program. And the cost for these, before you take into consideration the scholarship that we can offer, is 36 credits, around 22,000 USD. The 2-year program is closer to 30,000 USD. But we do have scholarships, and I'll be talking about those scholarships a little bit later on. Shui.
好的，那现在我来为大家介绍一下这个项目的具体流程。首先呢，这个项目有两种 credit， 2种不同的选修制度。一种呢，大部分的学生呢是选择两年制的，2年制呢一共有48个学分。然后其中如果您这边觉得您可能需要更快的把它学完呢，您可以选择1年制的 36个学分。然后我们学习的方式呢也是有2种，你可以来到曼谷，然后面对面的来进行一个教学。当然如果您这边不方便的话，您可以选择在网上进行教学，然后通过 Zoom 这样一个应用，然后输入它的 ID 啊，输入密码，然后就可以来上课。所以你不论在泰国还是不在，您都可以选择我们的这个项目。然后我们这个项目与其他项目不一样的另外一个点呢，是我们的项目有5个入学的时间。像我是去年8月入学的，当然你也可以选择在10月份或者1月份、3月份，甚至是6月份入学。这个呢就可以给您有更多的灵活性，更多的方便性，然后来选择什么时候方便，然后来进行入学。像其他的学校呢只有2个入学的时间，像我们这边有5个，就比较灵活。然后最近呢我们的专业呢也开放了 specialization。那我们的 specialization 呢就是一个具体的细致，就是你学商务管理，你需要一个比较细致的方向。那这个方向呢我们也有选择，那我们可以选择金融，也可以选择市场，也可以选择我们这个比较创新的市场改变和市场的改革这样子的一个细致的划分。然后最后呢我们来讲一下，就是这个项目需要花多少钱来上这个项目呢？如果您选择是1年的话，36个学分的话，那一共是22000美金。然后如果是选择2年呢是48个学分，那是3万美金。但是呢但我们学校也会提供不同程度的奖学金。那如果你要申请我们的项目呢，当然你也可以申请奖学金。那你就可以，如果您得到奖学金了，那学费肯定会得到一定程度的减免。Okay, back to you, Roger.
Thank you. And then the final thing I'd like to say about the MBA is we have an option for dual degree MBA. This means that people join for 22 months and they can take the first year at AIT, where they do the majority of the core courses, and then they move to our partner university. And the ones which are the most active are in France at some of the top world universities that offer. So you do an AIT MBA, and then you get an MIM, a Master in Management, from the universities at Schema, EDEC, or EM Lyon. We also have one in Germany that is not that well utilized at the moment. So most of the students that do this go to France for their dual degree MBA. Shui?
那最后呢我们还想讲一下我们的学校除了有那个商务管理硕士的这个项目呢，同时我们也提供了双学位的商务管理项目。然后这个双学位的项目呢，其中前22个月呢学生会在我们学校进行休学，然后呢就会被转到其他的国家进行一个另外一个国家另外一个大学的双学位的学习。然后像我们大多数的学生呢现在去的是法国，然后您可以在下面看到呢现在我们可以选择像EM Lyon 啊，或者是 Schema 啊，或者是DHEC 啊，这些学校都有很不错的排名。然后最近呢我们也有在德国的这个项目然后虽然现在才是一个比较可能新的项目，但是也鼓励学生去了解一下这个项目。Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we also just a quick reference to another MBA program that we are launching this year, and that is MBA Business Risk and Resilience. And this is a particular program that understands that we have a multiplier of different types of risk that are impacting industry at the moment. We want to specialize primarily on cyber tech and organizational risk, which makes it different to the financial risk management programs. 30% of this particular MBA is going to be shared with the other MBA students. So courses like managerial economics and change management are the type of courses that you share with the other MBA students. And again, the same amount of options that were discussed previously for the general MBA. Shui?
对于我们这次新来的8月份的学生呢，我们给予你们新的一个选择呢，就是同样是商务管理，但是它的细分下来的 分支呢是一个全新的分支，那叫做商务的风险评估。然后这个项目呢跟其他的项目稍有不同，那我们更加注重在网络啊、技术啊，或者是在一个公司里面的技术性的风险评估。然后这个呢会与之前像我们讲过的像金融评估啊，或者是工商管理这个项目都有些许的不同。那我们的其中30%的这个项目呢，都会跟商务管理的一些课程，像之前提供过的像 change management 这些课程相类似。那其他的呢就会是新的内容。然后关于它的时间呢，跟一般的商务管理的硕士是一样的，您可以选择1年，也可以选择2年。然后我们也可以更加的 flexible， 更加的灵活，然后您可以学长达4年的这个学习的项目。
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And now we're going to move back to Gao for the program on business analytics and digital transformation. This has exactly the same amount of features that the MBA program has got, but the reason for the creation of the business analytics digital transformation MSc is that we have spent a lot of time talking to companies across Southeast Asia, and including talking to people in other parts of Asia about what is the right type of degree, master's level that they really require on top of an MBA program. And the response that we get, that we had 2 years ago when we started this exercise, is that they need to have more people trained at master's level who know about the application of analytics and technology in the way that business is being transformed. So there's a realization that the jobs that are out there in this area require master's or PhD level work. This is a very applied program. It's important for me to stress that this is not a program which requires technical knowledge or coding. We have another program in AIT which is about AI and data science, and that is really for engineers or software engineers. The program at the School of Management is more based on application and the way that industry and business is changing and the kind of skills that will help somebody to go through and transform business. Therefore, the courses that exist are some of the courses which are offered to the MBA students, but we also include agile thinking, big data analytics, and a big feature of this particular program is related to leadership development skills, which are sometimes lacking on other programs such as this. So maybe, Gao, you can just say a few words to summarize this slide. Thank you.
Okay, Professor. 我们这个专业叫商业分析和数字化转型。然后我们首先它有几种不同的学制的选择。首先是1年制、2年制，还有就是根据你个人定制。然后我是2年制的。然后我们专业呢，首先它是侧重于分析，然后还有那个 technology 技术，就是说这个就是相当于就是把一个数字化转型，我们因为现在数字化转型是这个时代下的一个产物嘛，所以就是在这个时代下推动数字化转型，然后进行一个知识的涉猎。然后我们这个社会上现在需要很多就是研究生学历或者博士学历对于这个数字化转型的工作来说。然后还有就是我们这个项目可能会就是涉猎一点稍微有一点的技术性的知识，就比如说会涉猎一点那个数据库之类的东西，会教一点这些东西，所以了解一点是最好的。然后我们的课程包括说是工业 4.0， 这个当然MBA MBA 的同学也刚才提到了，然后还有Fight Tank， 还有那个大数据分析，还有那个敏捷思考，还有 soft skill， 然后这些都是涉猎在我们课程中的。整体来说，我们课程基本的话就是你要懂得，就是学下来你会知道说大数据啊，什么数据库啊，还有什么数据分析之类的，就会对整个数字化转型的背景有个概况了解。然后我们的学费大概是在2万到2.6万美元之间。Okay, Professor.
Thank you. We're now going to move over to Shelley, who's going to be talking a little bit about the translation of this slide. So we also have a program which was launched in August 2020, which is an MSc in International Finance. This is taught almost entirely by people who are senior executives from the finance industry. So therefore, they've helped craft or create a very industry-friendly design for this particular program. And the key courses here include valuation, investments, capital markets, corporate finance, accounting, etc., etc. This is also a program that highlights the importance of teamwork skills, collaboration skills, and other communication skills, which quite often are lacking from graduates that enter the finance industry. Shelley, if you could translate, thank you.
我现在所读的专业是国际金融，然后我们很多课程的老师都是高级财务主管，有一门课程就是会计决策这门老师他就是一个公司的主管，然后他这个课程设计对各行各业都是非常实用的，然后课程的话主要包括估值、投资、资本市场以及东欧地区的国际金融，还有最后一点就是它就是这门课程，它涵盖了金融行业所需的很多技能，就相对来说是比较个性化的。OK。
So some of the value add for the school, particularly for the master's programs, is that we have regular high-level guest speakers from industry. We have launched a mentoring program this year as well for students to have a mentor who comes from senior alumni background from different parts of the world. We also have the opportunity for people to take an internship, especially if you're on a 2-year program. You can either do this for credits or not for credits. And we have the opportunity to take a minor. So if you do not want to have a specialization in the MBA, for example, any of our programs allow for minors to have from other schools, such as the entrepreneurship minor. So we have quite a few students who would like to set up their own companies. And in the year 2, they have the opportunity to go through and work with other students into thinking about how do they go through and develop an idea and then commercialize that idea afterwards. Shelley, if you could translate that, thank you.
同时学校还就是有一些增值的一些课程，例如就是每年大约有40场嘉宾讲座，大约每次都是1个小时，然后还有导师制度，它可以就像高荣刚刚前面提过的，它可以给你带来一些帮助。还有就是最近改进了的实习计划可以换学分，这个是主要针对2年制的，然后还有是一个小型的创业活动，这个活动也是主要针对2年制的学生的。OK.
And another opportunity here in terms of value add is a student exchange program. So we have exchanges throughout different parts of Asia and different parts of Europe. The previous Chinese students that have been to AIT, the School of Management, have really appreciated going to countries like France, Germany, and Spain. The example in this particular slide is of EDHEC, which is located close to Paris. This is a very well-respected business school, which quite a few Chinese students have gone to. Shelley?
就是我们学校同时还有一些交换的地区，主要是在亚洲和欧洲，有德国的学校，然后这些学生他们在那边学习回来之后反馈都还不错。OK.
Thank you. And then some of the backgrounds of employers that our students have gone to in the last few years include some really well-known brands such as DHL, Deloitte, Siemens, Nokia, Huawei, KPMG, Ford, Deloitte and Touche. So this is just an example of where some of the School of Management alumni have ended up after they finished the program. Shelley?
SOM 学院学生毕业之后，他们去的公司也都是还不错的，有德勤，然后还有就是 DHL 国际物流，也有毕马威，然后还有福特汽车、西门子以及华为。OK.
Okay, so I will be talking a little bit about some of the entry requirements for getting onto the master's program. But before I do so, I would just like to focus for a few moments on the way that AIT has responded to COVID-19 in the last year or so. We have been given special dispensation by the Thai government to create our own organizational quarantine so that students that come to Thailand, they get met at the airport and they have an AIT fully safely secured vehicle that takes them over to AIT main campus. And then they go into quarantine for 14 days. And then at the moment, I think it's 10 days. Then after that, they have 7 days in self-isolation. And although there are increasing cases of COVID in Thailand at the moment, this particular situation has been fairly secure for AIT and the students that have come here in a very sort of safe environment. Shelley, could you just translate that briefly, please?
就是针对疫情期间的话，学校对课程设置的进行了改变。第一个是，如果疫情不严重的话，可以和老师进行面对面的授课。如果疫情像近期泰国疫情比较严重的话，就主要是线上教课。然后如果你要来泰国的话，学校是提供校园隔离的，就是你一出机场的话，学校会安排人员去接你，然后隔离的费用也是比较低的。最新的泰国隔离政策是10天，完成10天之后，学校要求进行一个7天的自我隔离，所以还是疫情期间学校的疫情防护是就是比较严谨的。OK。
Okay, we're going to move on to the DBA program quite soon, but before we do so, just a reminder about the application requirements for applying for a master's program, either the MBA or the MSc. We look for the equivalent of 2.75 out of 4 for bachelor's level, and then we look for English proficiency. We do accept a CET on top of IELTS or TEFL. AIT also has an online English language test, which I'll be talking about just a little bit later on. But they're the things we look for the master's programs. For the MBA, we also like to see that 90% of our students on the MBA have got work experience of at least 2 or 3 years. And the average age of the MBA at the moment is 28. So we are getting a lot of students with work experience. But for the MBA, that's what we look for. MSc, we look for English and the bachelor's level. MBA, we also look for work experience. Shelley?
就是学校硕士申请主要分为2类，第一类是对 MBA 申请的一个要求。MBA 的话，它因为就是年龄基本在28岁以上，所以它除了对你的就是本科成绩有一个要求之外，还有英语，还有对你的工作经验有一定的要求。像就是一般 Master 的话，就是你的本科绩点达到2.75以上。对你的英语的话，有3种认可方式。第一个是学校提供的。英语测试你达到6以上就可以入学，雅思的话是6，然后托福的话是550分。OK。
Okay, so I'll now move on to the DBA, the doctoral program. So we do have a PhD and we have a DBA. The difference between the two is that a PhD program is usually for people that are looking to go through and have a long career in academia. The PhD requires people to write a high quality academic journal article, and usually a slightly younger age for the PhD. So our average age on the PhD is about 36, 37 at the moment. On the DBA, it's for more experienced executives who do not need to write an academic article, but they still need to go through and complete a thesis. So DBA, PhD, a lot of our students are actually in class via flexible mode at the moment. Because the classes in their first year take place on a Saturday and Sunday, there is no evening or daytime class for this particular program. Just to go through these slides, and Sarah will be the person that will be translating this, but flexibility is the key for this program in the last 4 or 5 years. So COVID situation has made it more flexible, but there's always been a degree of flexibility on our doctoral programs. It does attract more experienced students, and the structure of the program means that in your first year, you need to do the research methods classes over the weekend, and then in year 2, year 3, and onwards, you do your thesis and your defense at that particular time. Sarah, could you go through and translate that for me, please? Thank you.
Yes，然后管理学院呢，它还有关于比如说工商管理博士以及 PhD 的学习，这两个呢稍微有点差别。PhD 呢，它可能会吸引一些更年轻的同学，然后他们可能没有太多的工作经验，然后 PhD 呢，它的对学术要求会比较高，对学术背景要求比较高，然后它呢可能也是吸引一些同学，比如说他可能长期会想要在学术界去工作。然后呢，他对 PhD 上学呢，他会有，比如说第1年还是依然去上课，然后在第2、第3年的时候呢，PhD 的同学是需要发表高质量的学术文章的，可能要在一些期刊，学校会有认可的期刊上面去发表文章。然后当然了，毕业的时候也会要有毕业论文。然后 DBA 的同学呢，相对而言有一点差别是 ，DBA 的同学他可能会更多的吸引了一些企业的高管或者是企业的管理人员，他们可能会有很足的很多年的工作的背景。大家可以看到，他可能同学的平均年龄会比 PhD 的同学会更高一点。然后DBA 的同学呢，学校是不需要你发表高水平的文章，你不需要在任何的期刊上面去发表文章，但是依然你在做毕业的时候是依然要写博士论文的哈，依然要通过。它的课程的设置是差不多的，它第1年都需要上课。像我就是在远程上课，在参加第1年的课程，然后对于 DBA 同学而言，第2、3年是可以用自己的时间去做研究，然后准备自己的论文，都是可以的。然后它主要非常非常重要的一点呢，就是它会比较灵活性是它这个项目非常非常重要的一点，大家也可以考虑读博士。然后现在想想啊，应该是对，它所有的课程都是有在 Zoom 上面有上，然后也是跟其他课程一样，在泰国疫情可以的话，会有老师和同学可以去学校里面上课，然后都是现场和远程是同时进行的。我可以看到教室里面老师和同学在里面上课。Yes, okay, Professor.
Thank you. I will skip this particular part because if we have anybody that would like to learn more about the PhD DBA, I will talk about that a little bit later on in the Q&A. But in terms of entry requirements to the doctoral program, we look for a GPA of 2.75 again at bachelor's level. For PhD, we also look for a master's of 3.5 or more out of 4. English language requirements are the same as for the master's students. For the PhD, we also ask people to go through and complete a 4 or 5 page research proposal about the type of subject area that they might be interested in. Sarah?
好，刚才呢，有一页 PPT 很快就过去了，它主要是讲 DBA 和 PhD 2个项目的一个介绍。一会儿如果同学们感兴趣，我们可以再回来聊。然后现在我们讲一下博士学位学习的一个申请的一个基础点。然后比如说如果你是本科毕业，那你的绩点吧 GPA 然后要到 2.75。然后这个是针对 DBA 同学，如果是想申请 PhD 的同学呢，你的绩点要大概在 3.5 左右，然后所有的对英语的要求呢是一致的，然后可以有3种方式来证明自己的英语。一是 AIT 的考试，现在应该是 online 考试，是至少要6分，然后2是雅思6分，然后3是托福550分。然后如果是 PhD 的同学呢，你需要在申请的时候就要大概交一个5、6页的一个大概研究的一个概述吧。Yes。然后
Sorry, one thing I should point out here, the last point that I didn't say is that for the DBA program, it's very important, given the experience, that we have people with work experience. So we look for a minimum of 7 years on the DBA program.
OK， 针对想要申请 DBA 的同学呢，学校比较看重你以往的工作经验，它一般会要求你至少有7年的工作经验。Yes.
And I've been mentioning earlier about the opportunity to do the AIT English test online. And I'd like to draw your attention to the right-hand side of this, that the online test, there is no in-person test at the moment because of COVID. So there's the online test, which is 60 minutes. It's an essay. It costs $32 to go through and do that. And every month there's between 4 and 10 different time slots to be able to go through and take that test. if you're interested to learn more or to register, then the address at the bottom of this page is where you go through to look for that. Sarah?
现在呢，AIT 的语言中心呢，它会开放 AIT 的英语入门考试。现在呢，不能去学校参加考试，只有参加网上考试。然后网站的链接呢，在左下角，大家应该可以看到。然后 online 考试呢，它会考试时间是60分钟，然后它应该会有一个图形的描述或者是数据的描述，还有再简单的写一个小论文。所以它主要考察这2点。然后它会有一个1000泰铢的一个费用。然后它这个考试应该是1周吧，它会有不同的时间段去考试。你如果想对这个感兴趣的话，去那个网站上面可以看，然后可以提前预定考试，提前交费，然后到时候直接参加考试就可以了。成绩也会到时候会邮件的形式通知你。Yes.
Okay. Sometimes we're asked the question about are there scholarships available because our programs are priced towards a premium end? And the answer is yes, we consider people on a financial need basis. And to qualify for an AIT scholarship, especially for August 2021 entry, we look for people with a GPA of over 2.75 out of 4. And depending on the program, depending on the background of the student, and depending on the level of applications that we get for this type of scholarship, it varies. Some people get 20%, some people get a little bit higher than that. The average varies from program to program. Sarah, if that's okay for you to translate?
Yes. 然后 AIT 呢也有给大家提供奖学金的项目，然后尤其是从今年8月份入学的同学呢，可以申请奖学金。然后申请奖学金的时候呢，他可能要看最低可能要 GPA 一定要超过2.75，对吧？然后他会奖学金的金额呢是学费的20%到75%不等的一个值。它为什么会不等？而且它是怎么样来决定它奖学金金额的呢？是以下几个方面。一个方面是你申请的项目，就是你如果学 MBA 或者是 MSc 是吧，是不一样的。然后还有这个你自己本人、同学、你的背景，然后比如说你学习以往的成绩，还有家庭背景，这些都算。还有一个就是入学申请的情况，要看你申请的这个项目，然后是多少人在申请，也有可能是根据就是奖学金申请的情况，学校去最终决定它项目，然后还有同学背景、入学情况这些原因吧，综合考虑之后，学校会给予一定的奖学金金额。Yes.
Okay, so that concludes our presentation for today. I would like to move on to the Q&A that you have. However, if you would like to go through and apply following the Q&A session, then please take note of the admissions address. You've got the code here that you can go through and scan. Just remember that to make a full application, we need to see your academic transcript. We need to see a satisfactory English score. So